Hello, I'm Old Man Crow, and this is my book, A Democracy in Demise, Selected Songs and Poems, 1968 to 2018. I will be reading the introductory poem, An Introduction to a Democracy in Demise. The poem is a lyrical sonata in 3 parts. Part 1, Capitalistic Ideology. We are living in the time of a democracy in demise, the American democracy, and its collapse into the catastrophic vortex of social polarization, systemic political fiction, financial criminality, and terminal debt. A damaged democracy, fragmented and imploding upon itself, falling on its failure to resist the corruptions of power and wealth, a victim to the temptations and the fatalities of greed. With its integrity in tatters, and despite its undiminished military might, the American experiment has come undone. When money talks as loudly as it does today in the hallways and back rooms of American politics, the quiet voice of conscience has little chance of being heard. We are living in the time of a democracy in demise. Our legislative process is an undeclared proxy war conducted with dark money manipulations and politically waged by corporate-sponsored propaganda pundits, bellicose pseudo-populist heroes, and a house crowded with plutocratic representation. The manufacturers of unnecessary needs and the unpaid consequences of consumerism have allowed democracy in America to be undermined, seduced, and subverted by capitalistic ideology. Unbridled capitalism becomes an ideology once it ceases to simply be an economic system, and it has usurped the democratic political structures created to keep it contained. Capitalistic ideology is what capitalism becomes once it's been made into a state religion. A state religion in which the spirit of our democracy that was once guided by moral directives and humanistic virtues, by enlightened ideals and a reverence for the divine presence that's revealed through nature, is now enslaved by the worship of money and commanded by the obscene desire for power and control over its most willing and witless converts, forcing the functions of our social institutions, all of our offices of government and commerce, to bow down in submission to the bottom line, to a profit of immediate redemption, to the all-commanding king of currencies, to the fundamental trust in the absolutism of wealth, whose commercially contrived compulsions have become as disposable and impermanent as any consumer product ever manufactured. After all, democracy is just another commodity to be advertised, promoted, and sold out. At its worst, it's a winner-take-all ideology Its only show of cooperation is a manipulation for the appearance of compromise. Bodies can be and will be stepped over. At its best, it is far from fair-handed in its relationship with labor, and at times turns criminal in its methods to avoid paying the full social cost of its corporate personhood. That burden is to be piled on the backs of the innocent unborn. The full potential and value of their lives aborted by the sins and the inherited debt of their fathers. Corporate personhood is the new bully on the block, the ultimate profiteer in consumerism and war, the heavy hand on the scales of justice, the iron fist poised over our heads. In the corporate cult of capitalism, the high priests and the international financiers and economic experts, the bankers and national ministers who officiate the dictates of the multinational corporations and military weapons manufacturers in their all-consuming quest for greater power and wealth. And today, as business goes down in our failing democracy, private financial interests have gained more power and control over our government than our government has over them. Democratic capitalism is a thing of the past. Our American democracy has been conquered by capitalistic ideology.